What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream repair. Yes, we've got a bunch that showed up today. It just seems like the normal these days is for like 10 or 15 of these to show up on every Monday, and then, we get 5 or 10 every day after that until the end of the week. Things slow down, but here we are. We've got a few to wrap up before we jump into anything that's even showed up today. We've got Steven, number 354 here, and Wayne. Both of them had bricks. This one from Steven was a kind of a surprise. We found that it was a damaged display that was causing their issue. And Wayne's took a software restore. Both fellows here are going ahead with the full teardown and hardware maintenance and warranty and what have you to make it all worthwhile. So let's get all set up here and add up everyone else that's waiting to get fixed here. Let's see. We'll go ahead and let Steven know first. Number 354. Alright, Steven's been messaged. Now let's get Wayne. Alright, Wayne has been messaged. So let's see who we need to put up on the list here. We have got Maynard or Maynard. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I am the wrong person to ask how to pronounce names. But anyways, we have got their... they've got a few HomePods here that they have attempted repairs on. It seems like they just need to get a working HomePod back, so we'll see what we can do with that. And then after them, we've got Johnny with no power. We've got a different Steven with DC. Rachel with no base. Sid with DC offset as well. No base, DC offset, death farts, all basically the same thing to me. And then we've got or your. They have no power. Colin, no power. Anonymous, no power. Number 373. Grant. DC. DC offset, death farts, some sort of base issues. And then David with no power. Sasha, no power. Christian with 2 of them. There we go. That's how I'm gonna have to do that. Wow, goodness, wow. And of course there's even more than that. We've got Mike's dumpster fire that we need to save for him. And a few other things we need to catch up on, but hey, at least I don't know what to say. That's a lot. This is a lot for one guy here in their side time. But okay. We will be alright. We'll get through this. Let me fix my camera. I hate when it, I don't like the background blur. Like, I get that some people are looking for the aesthetic where, like, it keeps what you want the attention on in focus. But I kind of like my mess. I like my messy desk, and I think other people like to look around my desk as I'm working on stuff and see what I'm into or what's going around for that day. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty nosy about people's desks. Whoa! That tried to run away. It's not going anywhere. Okay, and yeah, we already got this far. And then we wanted to stop and make sure that we got Steven's approval to go all the way in. They said yay, so here we are. Oh. Legit. What is up? Welcome. I'm not sure if I recognize your name there. Is this your first time around? Do you got any HomePods for yourself? Oh. It smells tired. Something smells a little tired in there. This is Nick. Sorry about that. For some reason, my phone number always ends up on half of my wife's medical stuff, and they keep calling me when it has, it's like, don't call me, ask my wife. It's her stuff, right? I have personally never had one fail on me after replacing the diode. Unfortunately, I don't know what much we can help with, because that basically means you goofed something up along the way. And there's a million different things that you could have goofed up along the way. So the best thing that we can tell you really is to take it back apart and slowly and carefully inspect everything. Look for physical damage, torn cables, things not plugged all the way in. Maybe try reinstalling the diode again. Send us pictures of your work too, because we can't, we don't have a crystal ball, we can't see your repair, let alone how you repaired it. We don't know. And unfortunately, like I've said, I've fixed thousands of these here by now, and the only time we have issues with a standard no power dead diode repair is if we mess something up. it's one of those failures that it's just the diode that goes bad. So if you confirmed that the diode was bad, you confirmed that there wasn't still a short on the board after pulling the bad diode off. You confirmed that the diode by itself was shorted. And then replaced it with a quality. Don't buy knockoffs. You need to buy a quality replacement diode from a reputable electronics reseller. You can't just go on Amazon or AliExpress. People are reporting that their AliExpress diodes aren't lasting either, so. Without schematics, there's not a whole lot that we can do as far as say, test all of this stuff. You expect to see these values. Now, if there's a specific area we can measure on a good board and see what you would expect on a good board, but I don't have any ideas where to start working on your particular issue. Alright, we've got some new filters on there to keep the death farts and all sorts of bass issues away. Not all of them, but most of the common ones. We've got a 4.6K dated diode on the board here. These love to fail and cause no power, so it's a good thing we're taking this apart and getting to all of this. There are a bunch of other... Between this diode and those filters, chances are this HomePod would have come to us for something at some point. Yeah, I would also buy a legitimate diode from like DigiKey or Mouser or some other more legitimate reseller. Might have just died on you again. But you also might find something else obviously wrong. Just because it worked for a little bit after you fixed it doesn't mean you didn't cause something else. And back together we go. Unfortunately, there are even a number of times that we've gone into a HomePod for what was supposed to be nothing other than a simple no power repair. And then we screw something up, we don't even know what it, we never figure it out, and we end up with like no sound or no bass. And it gets quite puzzling. And sink a lot of time into trying to diagnose what else could have possibly gone wrong with what should have been a straightforward repair. And of course, you know, gotta ask the questions like, were you properly grounded? Are you wearing an ESD strap that's grounded? Are all of your tools grounded, like your hot air station and your soldering station? Is your mat grounded? Are you properly handling components? You see us fly in and out of these, and well, I'll just say we can afford to, you know, we've got parts to be able to make a mistake here or there. You definitely want to be at least taking it slow and easy if you're doing these yourself. Don't follow the way that we do it on our live streams. This is how we've figured out how to get in and out of these the most efficient way possible, but the most efficient probably won't be the easiest and safest way for someone trying their first or second time. I've got video guides for that in particular. I give you pointers and things to avoid. But I do need to make a new video guide for that. That good old no power repair. We've learned a few things along the way. A few different tricks to make it easier for folks to get in. A few tips for getting the dead diode off. Shuffle hands, welcome back. Glad you could join us for another one. It's going to be a big one today. Alright, we already fixed the main issues, so we should still have a pretty much perfectly working pod here. And here's Wayne's. I've been testing this one, setting it up, resetting it, making sure that it's staying unbricked. Oh yeah, it snowed like crazy over here too. Most of it's actually melted already, but it's been snowing off and on all day last night here and today. And it's like an on and off switch from 0 to 100. Pretty crazy.
I'm having trouble connecting. All
right, well, provided they wanted us to reset and update this, we will go ahead and do so. I'll check their repair form and see what they said. But Steven, number 354, Steven is fixed. Steven the brick is no longer bricked. We've now got Wayne here to wrap up. Excuse me. Wayne's HomePod was bricked. It took a software restore successfully over just a USB cable. So they have opted for a warranty and some extra maintenance to keep it going as good and long as possible. Let's get my adapter off there. I haven't taken this off since we restored it the other day. Thank goodness this did not need a new logic board, because space gray logic boards are slim pickings at the moment. And anytime I get my hands on another one, it seems I end up with something not what I expected. Like physical damage that destroyed the logic board. Crazy. Crazy! So I'm going to slide a few other folks in front of Maynard here. Let's see if I can find them. Oh yes, okay. Okay. So after Wayne, we're going to slip Jacqueline in there. They have an amplifier board that they need a little bit of help with. So we're going to take a look at that next. Not before we get Wayne here all tidied up, so let's get that taken care of. Our trademark hardware maintenance includes taking it all the way apart and giving it a general inspection, sniffing the subwoofer to make sure it's not stinking, looking around the amp and making sure nothing's starting to look toasty. And we replace the 4 filters that tend to go bad and cause death farts and all sorts of bass issues. we look for, and if it's got it, replace the diode that often fails and causes no power. You'll see us replacing a lot of those today. And then we'll put it back together. We'll replace the old crusty foam subwoofer gasket with a brand new solid rubber one that'll far outlast it. And with all that, if anything goes wrong with it, we'll take it back and fix it back up for him within the next year. Why won't my phone unlock? Oh, because that needs my passcode. I wish I could just tell my phone, I don't care. Stop asking for my passcode, just unlock with my face. Ask for my passcode like once a day, not like once an hour. I could have swore there was a setting for that, and I could have swore I turned it off. Could have been called Little Wayne. That's funny. You know, I might find a spot on my desk here to stick a HomePod Mini just to call him that. Lil Wayne. Do I sell the top covers individually? Are you talking about this guy? I do, yes. I sell different conditions depending on how much you want to pay. I can't charge, I gotta charge a fair price for what's just a piece of plastic, but good ones, as you can imagine, are hard to come by. With parts pods, people tend to not treat a broken device very well, and the cosmetics get abused as a result. So usually the stuff I get my hands on is not the best condition. I gotta charge more for the stuff in better shape. But yeah, I've got a few options. You can check my website. I've got a link to my shop. Email me with what you want to get. There are knockoffs floating around on various Chinese websites if you know how to navigate those. I would love to know how to navigate those. I would love to get my hands on a big batch of them. The shell looked a little cracked there, but I think they glued it back together from the factory. Oh, if these top covers were made of glass, I think they'd be easier to deal with. But they're made of plastic, and everybody breaks them. And they scratch way too easily. If they were glass, I feel like they would be a little more durable. But maybe that's just my hot take. Yes, just to have a solid glass surface to tap on, that would be nice. I wonder if anyone can manufacture those. Apple already spent so much on each single unit and parts to put together alone, so makes sense they had to save everywhere else they could. You can't complain too much about it being plastic. But you kinda can, because at the end of the day, you as the consumer care about quality and value, right? Doesn't matter if the insides cost $250. If you paid $300 to $350 for it, you want it to be feel, look, sound, and do all that money that you spent on it. All track. Welcome. Yeah, soon here you could add 3 zeros behind that and you'd be correct. At this rate, we'll be well over 4,000 of these halfway into 2025. We used to average about 100 a month. We've hit more than 3,000 of them the first 3 years, and then things got crazy these past few months. We've been averaging like at least 150 a month. Is repairing HomePods my main job? Oh, I wish. As many as we fix, we don't make enough to be more than like a part-time job. No, I've got a full-time on-call salary day job that I always report to. That's keeping me busy all the time. Weekdays, weekends, I get no breaks. I'm always working on something. And it's what keeps the lights on and the food on the table. The HomePod repairs just kind of subsidize the ever-increasing cost of living and raising a kid. It is getting insane. It just makes everything a little easier. even though it's long work. Yeah, if it takes me 15-20 minutes to fix a HomePod. But when you've got 10 to 20 of them to go through a day, and it's not just the repair that takes time too. It's as silly as it sounds, it takes time for us to go to the shipping store, pick it up, come home, unbox it, triage, and then put it in line before it even gets fixed, before we even put it on the table here on stream. Frankly, the repair itself is the fastest part of all of this. It takes me longer to freaking unbox it and then later to repack it and generate the shipping label and go and drop it off at the store than it does for me to freaking fix it. That's why it stings a little bit whenever people ask me for a discount, like, oh man, I would love to just do it for free for everybody, but that's just not how the world works. I would love to do it at a discount for everyone, but we do need to make it worth our time with what little we've got. Kurt, what is up? Welcome back. Do I think more people are finding out I can fix them, or are more of the components wearing out with age? Well, it doesn't seem like the general failure rates have changed at all. We still get a pretty steady rate of the same issues coming in, and not really anything new ever showing up. It's really rare. I think it's a mixed bag, and I can tell one reason is the way that we run it now. The past few months, I only started including shipping labels in the repair like a few months ago, which is about when things started getting really busy. And that's when I also started doing the repair form. Everybody has to fill out a repair form before they get their stuff fixed with me. I make exceptions. I'm not a stickler with it, but it helps keep everything a lot more organized. And I think that the having the shipping included, having an option to have a box sent to you so you can not worry about shipping it to me in a plastic bag, and I think that I have had a number of people mention specifically Irfan from the cult. He does a podcast, like a huge Apple fan podcast. I don't do podcasts. I don't listen to them. I used to have my own as like a side fun, totally aimless thing years ago, but I never listened to podcasts. But I've had a lot of people the past few months mention that they came from Irfan, and then hearing about HomePod repairs through him. He hasn't come over yet. We need to both find a time that's clear in our schedules so he can come over and we can get his HomePod fixed up. He's got one with the blinkies, so it'll be fun to have him come over. He said he was like, hey, you mind if I like film your setup and all that too? And I'm like, I don't care. You know, I live stream this stuff, so I think but I do think that the biggest contributor was including shipping as an option, along with giving people the option, finally, for you folks that are like, I need a discount somehow. I've given you a way. If you can find your own shipping back and forth, I'll give you a discount. You'll be hard pressed to find shipping cheaper than me including it for you. Basically, unless you already have a shipping account with someone. But it's there. You want the challenge, you want the discount, there it is. That's how you can get it. Alternatively, I'm always open for making deals with people. I always need more parts, and I'm always interested in, whatever. I'm not saying send me junk, but if you've got older or unwanted electronics devices that you would like to trade in turn for work on something that you might need done, we are always happy to talk about it and maybe work something out. I do love to do a little bit of quid pro quo. Like the other day, somebody had sent in 3 HomePods, and we made them a deal. We only charged them $40 to fix 2 of them and ship them back to them, in trade for letting us keep the 3rd one. And it doesn't have to just be HomePods. It could be anything that you got. Who knows? I might be interested. I am a bit of a tech hoarder. I am a bit of a collector. Is it only the 1st gen HomePods that are defective? Oh no. If it exists, and if it is mass produced, it has a defection rate. 2nd gen HomePods, just to back into the box here. 2nd gen HomePods and HomePod minis both have their own issues. There are a number of no power issues. I've actually just gotten my hands on 2 different 2nd gen HomePods, both with no power. And I've had a number of other people emailing me asking for help with their 2nd gens with no power. But it doesn't seem quite as common as the 1st gens. The more common issue with the 2nd gens and the minis, unfortunately, at the moment seem to be ghost touches and phantom touches and just randomly starting and stopping things and adjusting the volume. Things that would happen with a touch panel that's acting up. And there's no fix for it because Apple and nobody sells replacement touch panels. It's like a $5 piece of plastic, but nobody sells them. And there's no way to fix it. So people have just been taking the touch panels and unplugging them and just going without any touch interface. It's so dumb. But I don't have, the only reason I have any 2nd gens is for parts to fix any 2nd gens that people want to send in for us to fix. There was also, I had an interview with The Verge and the Podfeet podcast as well. Podfeet podcast were actually the first folks to approach me. But then The Verge came up to me, and they actually got the interview with me before Podfeet. And boy, let me tell you, that was the first time I had ever gotten interviewed for anything, with HomePod repairs. And and for The Verge too. I was super nervous, and you could tell on the interview. I dang near blew that thing. I personally feel like I did, but whatever. Everybody was like, "Wow, that's real cool." And then like a few weeks later, the Podfeet podcast happened, and it was like super easy because I had basically already had basically a practice run with The Verge. Go figure. But it was real fun to be on both of them, and I can't wait to have Irfan come over and have a good chat with him too. Alright, Wayne is fixed. Let's take a look at Jacqueline's stuff here, and then we'll look at Maynard's pile of parts. Let's find Maynard. Okay, well, I guess, is it not gonna... Why can't I find... Oh, because I texted them. Okay. Alright, I figured it out. Let me find my text messenger. Can this truck please go so they can stop rattling my whole house? Thank you, much appreciated. No commercial vehicles allowed in the area. I swear I will call law enforcement and get you out of here. Please leave. Thank you. Wow. That's so obnoxious. Okay. Alright, this next one is going to be really fun. Because we've got a bit of damage here that someone has incurred attempting their own repairs. This is the kind of stuff I love doing. I love me a good challenge. So here's what's going on. They took this apart. They tried getting the diode off, and they did a little oopsies. They seem to have lost a 0.1 microfarad capacitor that sits right here. And they've added quite a few scratches around this. So what we need to do is verify that this big pad here is not shorting out to ground. If it is, we gotta clean it up and find out where that is and get it to stop before we can put a new diode on here. And then we can replace the little 0.1 microfarad cap there. We can put a new diode on. We can test it out and move on with our day. So here, let's make sure this is working, or at least not as foobarred as we want it to be. Alright, so ground to ground across the board, my probes are working. And yeah, unfortunately this pad is showing that it is going straight to ground. Yep. So what we can do is we can try cleaning this up a little bit. I'm gonna go real gentle with it. I doubt we're gonna clear this up, but we're gonna give it a good old try here. And let's just make sure. Oh, buddy. Yeah, that is quite shorted out. I do not know we'll be able to get this, but we're gonna try. We got it! Holy moly. We did it. First freaking try, guys. Okay. Okay, I am gonna try to clean that up just a teeny bit more. Oh gosh, I'm a little nervous now that it's working. I don't wanna F this up, but I wanna make it as right as we can. Okay, cool. I can actually see the gap between that ground plane on the board and the pad of our diode with my bare eyeball. So I think and neither of our pads for our little cap here are bad. I think we can do this. I'm gonna get the little cap on there first. And then we will try to pick or put a replacement diode on here. Nice. Now this is going to be the tricky part, is getting the replacement diode reflowed on here without the solder bridging onto any of our ground plane there that's exposed. I suppose we could try masking it. Actually, I do want to try masking it off if I've got any. I would really like to. Alright, our cap is on there. Let's make sure it's connected to everything it should be. Yep. It's not connected to ground. Very good. Our bottom pad of the cap should go to the big pad of the diode, and it does. The top pad of our cap goes to the top pin of our step down over here, and it does. Goodness gracious, we are on a roll here. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit. And let me find my solder mask. I know I've got some. Oh, here it is. Yes. Okay. And we only need the smallest amount here. Okay, let me grab. Where is my UV lights? Oh, I suppose now's a good time for me to catch up on our chat there. I've been neglecting you folks there. I'm sorry. HomePod guts inside of a bookshelf speaker housing. Of niche. Oh, what is up? Welcome back. Yeah, I think they got the board too hot and they touched the board with their tweezers trying to get the diode off. So they ended up grounding out the main pad of the diode. And luckily, we were able to clear it out. I'm quite surprised. Okay, all that's left now is to grab ourselves a replacement diode, reflow it on, and cross our fingers. Make sure I get plenty of solder on that diode so it's got a good chance to reach all of its pads underneath. What causes HomePods to brick themselves? Could be a random software issue. Could be someone interrupting a software update. Could be somebody interrupting it during a software restore. Could be a hardware issue too. You could have your storage chip going bad. Alright. Let's see. Good. Our diode has a connection to ground. It is not showing a short. We are showing a resistance reading still though, so that's kind of concerning. Oh, no we're not. Okay. I think... Oh, we can't turn it on yet. I just noticed this. Their main connector for the ribbon is gone. Oh, and even a pin for it. Wow. Alright, here's a parts board. Let's see where that pin normally goes and if we can, 1, 2, 3, 4, if we can reroute that. If it's ground, we'd be really lucky. Oh, it is ground. Oh my god. Okay. Let's get ourselves a replacement main connector here so we can test this frickin' board out, eh? I don't want to use low melt on this because I don't want them to break this connector back off when they go and put this HomePod back together. Okay. Just line this up. Nice. That's not going anywhere. I mean, it's a little crooked. Whoops. But it is. It's solid. It's not going anywhere. Maybe I'll straighten that out before I send it back to them. But let's get a trace wire ran for this for ground. And this should be ready to test. Oops, I'm gonna need a longer trace wire. Just bring this over here. We're going to go on to, let's see, which one of those is ground? Nothing's ground over here. Oh. Okay, we've got a ground pad over here on this guy, so I think we're gonna steal that. Which one was that? Second over? Yeah. Is there any on the bottom one? No. No, it's too short. I cut it too short. I'm a dummy. Okay. Yeah, sorry that took so long. Okay. Quick sanity check and make sure that nothing's not connected to nothing that shouldn't not be not connected here. So we've got our ground. That's good. Doesn't seem to be connected to anything else. Alright. Well, if this doesn't work, it's not my fault. Let's see. Oh yeah, sorry, I was real focused on that. That was taking way longer than it should have. I'm quite embarrassed. All right, geez, safety squints. Here we go. Oh, look at that! Goodness gracious, we've got power. Sucks if you were one of the few dozen people watching that left right before you saw this get to come to life. It's working. It's alive. Here, I'll even connect a tweeter here for you.
Check the home app.
There you go. It's alive. It's alive and well. That's what's up. That is a pretty intense repair there, but that is the kind of stuff that I enjoy doing. Sure, I don't make nearly as much on it, and I could charge way more for it, but I don't want to necessarily punish people for attempting their own repairs and failing and trying to learn. I don't want to discourage people from trying to fix their own stuff. Now, I'm not gonna teach you on my dime, but I'll teach you. I'll teach you for a fair price. Okay, so this still needs new filters. Let's go ahead and do them really quick. Screw it. Screw it. We'll wrap up this amplifier board, and then we will look at Maynard's stuff, and that'll be it for, I think, today's stream. We started a little late, and it's getting late. So. Oh, Mike is here. What is up? What is up? Beefy is here too. Welcome. Welcome back. Alright. That, I think, is a piece of art right there. I might even just keep this and send them a refurbished stamp so I can hang this up on the wall. I don't know. No, they're getting this one back. They're getting this one back. And they can be proud of, be proud of their mistakes in our work here. Oof. Okay. That would leave Maynard here. They have sent us a collection of parts. And we've got some interesting issues going on. This one, they say powers on for 1 second and then back off. They said this one originally had a dead diode and they replaced it. I think that's the case for all of these, is they had dead diodes and they replaced them, and they worked until they started doing this. So that turns on and then it turns off and then it stays off. And it pulls practically no power from the wall when it does stay off. That is interesting. This one powers on for 1 second and then off. Same thing. Oh, there it goes. And exact same thing. No lights, no power draw either. And we've got a third, I don't know if you can count this as a pod, but there's a collection of parts here. Here we go. Parts, missing PCB, logic board, ribbon cable, you know. And they included a few of their spare diodes. It looks like that might have been the problem on this one. It's got some corrosion on there, I don't know. I'm very curious if their logic board here is working. And their display, ooh. Yeah, that display, there is no saving this display. I can see stuff broken off the board on the bottom there. I'm not gonna try that one. You think it's the power supply of niche? I think so too. I think that is the most likely culprit here. Second to that, I think maybe their diode replacement job didn't maybe not have been so well. Or we've got an amplifier board issue on a couple of these that were self-induced from the repair attempts. Okay, so their logic board from this third HomePod here, what's it do? It actually turns right on. It turns on, but we may not have any sound from this logic board. That's unfortunate. Okay, well, let's go ahead and give this a factory reset and see if that's all this logic board needs. While this is resetting, we'll go ahead and play around with these two and see what they're going to need. And we'll take a look at the parts out of this one in a few minutes after. Will it beep for the reset? No sound on the lot. Yeah, no beeping. No sound on the main logic board is something that we haven't been able to figure out. What's odd is Mike in the chat there sent us a HomePod they were working on a few days ago, and through some prior repair attempts, not of Mike's but someone prior to him, they had made some mistakes and shorted a few components out, and it arced out on the logic board, and his logic board no longer produced sound either. This last weekend, before I went to bed, I came in here and I started messing around with some spare HomePod parts, trying to get a few things working again. I wasn't streaming anything, I was just kind of messing around. And I had Mike's logic board inside of another HomePod, testing it out, trying to get the sound working again. And I removed the shields while it was turned on, and it shut itself off. And I was like, oh shit. I didn't realize that I had it plugged in while it was on while I was taking the shield off. So I unplugged it, I plugged it back in, I waited for it to boot up, and it started making sound again. And I was baffled. I still have no idea how I brought the sound back on Mike's logic board, but it's probably not going to be the same for most people, and obviously I'm not going to recommend people go and start doing that to their logic boards. I tried it on another one though. You bet your ass I tried on another one, and of course, nothing happened. But okay, so this logic board out of their third pod here appears to have no sound whatsoever. No sound. One day we'll figure those ones out. It's got to be a common problem. I can't imagine. I have no idea. Well, okay, let's grab this logic board and make sure that this logic board works fine, and then we'll tear this one all the way down and try to figure out what's going on with these. Chances are whatever wrong with this one's the same with this one. They're behaving exactly the same. Chances are, but you never know till you know. So let's find out. Let's get to knowing. Here is their display. It looks like they got better at pulling their displays up as they, of course, got their practice. You guys don't want to see the parts from my first HomePod. It looks a lot like these. My first HomePod was not pretty. Okay. I'm curious if their logic board and display are still good. Chances are they're good. I think of Nisha's right here. I think they've got power supply issues. And there you go. It's turning right on. Avnish, you've got a HomePod Gen 2 with no power. I had 2 just show up too, and a couple of people have been bothering me over email about them. Haven't cracked them open yet, but when I have the time, I'm going to. I'm curious of your findings. If you want to share what you found so far, I'll see if I see the same thing in my 2 HomePod Gen 2s.
I'm having trouble.
And I have spare parts. I have a whole spare 2nd gen, so I can swap that MOSFET on my known good board to one of my no powers if I can confirm the same problem and let you know if it works too. And I'll give you credit. I'll put it on the website and say, guys, check this out. If Niche figured out potentially the most common no power issue in 2nd gens.
I'm having trouble.
So we've got a good logic board for the Space Gray. And I'm frankly not too surprised. Let's get the power supply out and test the most likely theory here, which is a faulty power supply. Actually, I don't even need to take any more of that out. We can just rip this power supply right away. Am I fixing these power supplies as well? You know, I have so many of these power supplies sitting around that in most cases, I'm just gonna replace the thing. Maybe one day if I start running short, I'll start to troubleshoot and fix some of these. And I think it would do everyone a big favor too, because I imagine most people don't have a bunch of spare power supplies sitting around. But oh, I see the problem. This needs to come apart the rest of the way. I'll give you guys a hint. It's not the power supply. And I'm frankly quite surprised that this even worked. Some of the HomePods that I take apart before I slide the mesh cloth, I spin it around. Are you talking about... So I get the logic boards out and I get this liquid and I drip the liquid in here and then I pick it up and I swirl it around like this. That is my, that's just the way that I am. I'm kidding. Well, okay, I'm not really. I am weird, but that is not some strange ritual or a sign of a bigger problem developing inside of me. That is purely just me swirling that liquid around. When I squeeze the liquid inside, I'm putting my dropper right here. And you see where that alcohol's going? It's going right into that adhesive that's gluing this speaker basket down. And once I drip it in there, I pick it up and I swirl this around, and that'll evenly distribute and spread that alcohol all the way around the rest of this and make prying this up much easier. I didn't do it on this one here because they already took it apart, so it's not glued back down. I don't need to bother. but for a HomePod that's just getting taken apart, that's what the swirl's for. Ooh, you guys are gonna love this one. And hopefully we can just put this right back into place. And no harm, no foul. And then I'm really curious what's up with the other one here. If I'm correct about this and it's not the power supply on this one, then heck, is it going to be the same mistake on this one? I'll be really surprised. You guys ready for this? I'll give you guys a second before I point it out. What do you notice wrong? What do you think is wrong here? I'll give you until I fix it. And I won't blame you if you can't see it, because I'm not using the best of cameras for this. Do you see it yet? You got a few more seconds before I fix it. I'm fixing it. There we go. Problem solved. Did they replace their filters while they were in here? Ooh, no they did not. Shame. Shame. I'm gonna replace them for you. These have, to be absolutely clear, nothing to do with their current issue, but these do often go bad and cause death farts and all sorts of bass issues. And I don't want to get this, I don't want to hear it from Maynard. Hey man, you fixed my HomePod, but now it's death farting. I don't want to hear it. The only time I want to get someone's HomePod back is if they're selling it or giving it to me. So we're going to replace these filters so it doesn't come back to us for death farts. Sure, we could replace literally everything on the board and prevent every single issue, but that's not practical. We know the top 2/3 common issues: these filters, that diode for no power and death farts, and blinking volume buttons for a dead logic board. We can prevent 2 of those 3 things, and that's what we're going to do. And these filters, well, they are ceramic capacitors, and all ceramic capacitors just naturally decay over time. They even have a shelf life. They only have a shelf life of about a year before they start to derate out of spec, and you have to recondition them. And yes, we could recondition the filters instead of replacing them, but it would take a lot longer, and who knows the quality of the parts that Apple originally used, if they're even worth reconditioning. Okay. So I believe we have fixed the reason this keeps turning off. I believe this is gonna work. What's the most uncommon problem that isn't user-induced? I think it's gotta be no sound. no sound is a hard one too, because sometimes it's an amplifier board issue and sometimes it's a logic board issue. The thing turns on, but it doesn't produce any sound, and I've seen it's rare because I really don't see it all that much, and when it does happen, I've never been able to fix it, except for like once. And it was the main controller chip on the amp, the STM controller. So this is their original power supply still. I want to test this theory. I want to make sure that it isn't a power supply issue. Where did I put their logic board? Here it is. We are almost out of time here. I think we can figure out what's wrong with this one, at least, and see if this works. Would you look at that? It's booting right up. Did I ever harvest the gold from circuits and connectors of all my broken parts? I haven't gotten rid of any of my broken parts. I've kept everything. I'll find a purpose for it one day, and maybe that purpose is coming sooner than I expected, but I'll leave it at that. Let's see if this works.
I'm having trouble connecting to...
Oh, buddy. Yes, sir. Okay. Space Gray is working. I'll make Maynard a deal. If they're willing to give me some of these parts, I'm willing to give them a free repair or something along those lines. They did say they just needed one working HomePod. I would prefer to send them a white one back. I really need Space Gray parts, but it's their stuff. We'll give them a few options. We'll let them decide. Let's see if this one is the same problem. Oh. Oh. Well, I don't think this is the cause, but we'll sanity check really quick here. Yep, same problem. Okay, so surprisingly, this display is still good, and I'm gonna make them use it. Actually, they have, don't they have, if they've got another display in better shape, you know. We'll try to use the best parts for whatever they want to keep. I'm happy to keep the worst condition of what's left over. What the heck? That almost didn't come out. Logic board looks fine. Dun dun dun. I don't see the same thing. This one might actually just be simply a power supply issue. I see the problem. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, well, I mean, nothing's broken yet, so I don't think this will be a problem. But we'll go ahead and try a different power supply. I don't think it's the power supply. If it's not the power supply, then we'll take this amp out, and I'll show you what I think the problem is. Oh boy. Yeah, see? Different power supply. Still turns right back off. So, what do you guys think this one's gonna be? I already know what it is then. Knowing now that it's not the power supply and seeing what I've seen on this amplifier up close, I know what it is, but let's see if you guys can take a guess before I fix it. I'll give you a big hint. I'll give you two big hints. We're going to be looking at the same area on the amplifier board as the last one, but it's not exactly the same mistake. That capacitor that they had bumped out of place in the other one is in its right place on this one. And you have to point out the specific name of the component that you see the problem on. This one's going to be kind of sketchy. Actually, there's potentially two problems here, really, but there's one really obvious one. Not burned caps. No, sir. Those two pins at the top of our step-down converter are bridged together. And they were touching this capacitor up here. Oh, and would you look at that? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't actually realize that was that goofed up over here, but That certainly needed to be redone right there. And this diode needs to be reflowed. I think they were using unleaded solder, because this stuff is kind of crusty. You gotta get unleaded solder real hot, usually. So we're gonna reflow the diode on. I feel like that diode wasn't really on there very well. That was a pretty cold solder joint. The main issue, I think, this little capacitor here wasn't properly on there. It looked like it to me. So I thought that the main issue was the bridge between these two pads and its bridge to the capacitor up here too. But let's get this put back on here now. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I totally screwed that up. I just bumped all that stuff off to the side. You guys witnessed it. This was fixable, and now I just made a bunch more work for myself. And I'll tell you why. I know why I did that, because I was contorting my body to the board's position instead of moving to the board to be comfortable with my body's position. Let's just clear all this crap out of here. I'll redo it. I've done worse. Okay, well, unfortunately, folks, had I not made that mistake right there and knocked half the components off the board, we could have tried this out and seen if we got it fixed and working, but we are unfortunately out of time. I don't want to keep going, and, you know, we are going to fix this. We will rebuild him. We will rebuild this. So folks, I hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair. We did get the other one fixed, and we will get this one fixed too, on the next stream. I hope to catch you all in the next one. Goodbye. No.